Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you again, especially during a busy week. My district stretches across 7 counties in northern Illinois, outside of Chicago. And as you know, for over a year now, anti-immigrant extremists in southern states have coordinated the deceptive and inhumane busing of migrants arriving at our southern border to blue states like New York or Illinois, including my community. They're using vulnerable people, the vast majority of whom are legally seeking asylum, as pawns in their shameless and shameful political stunt. In contrast, I am so proud to be from Illinois, where under the leadership of our governor, Governor Pritzker, and Mayor Johnson in Chicago, our community has come together to provide resources and support to these new arrivals in alignment with our values as Americans. I certainly recognize and appreciate how you and your team have made this issue a priority. But at this point, to speak plainly, Illinois desperately needs more federal support than we're getting. So today, I want to talk about our options for the coming months in the current political reality. That means without the Senate supplemental. So just with current DHS authorities and the fiscal year 2024 funding package. Much of the federal funding for communities supporting migrants comes through FEMA's Shelter and Services Protection Program, or SSP. And this funding is largely directed to southern border states. But as these states like Texas continue to bus thousands of new arrivals north, it's time to take a look at how we allocate that money. Almost 900 buses with migrants have been sent to Chicagoland in the last 18 months. But just last year, in round 1 of SSP funding, the state of Texas received 11 of the 34 grants awarded. Illinois received 2. In round 2, Texas received 33 of the 54 grants awarded, and Illinois received 2. For grants awarded with reserve funding, Texas received 28 of the 35 grants awarded. Illinois received none. Mr. Secretary, what specific steps is DHS taking to ensure that more fiscal year 2024 funds are directed to communities actually welcoming migrants? Can you commit that Illinois will see a greater share of SSP resources this year?
Congresswoman, regrettably, the 2024 budget includes a reduction in the amount of Shelter and Services Program funding. We are put in a difficult position of allocating insufficient resources as between cities in the interior of the United States that actually receive the individuals who are in immigration enforcement proceedings and the border communities that initially encounter them. We are working through that allocation right now to distribute the 2024 funds, at least in the first tranche. And allow me to assure you, Congresswoman, that we are working very closely with the jurisdictions both in the interior and at the border to increase and maximize the effectiveness of the allocations.
Yes, sir. Southern border states will likely always need some dedicated support, but it seems contradictory for a state receiving such a large portion of the funding dedicated to sheltering and providing services for migrants, and then to bus those migrants to other states as soon as they arrive. Furthermore, the total SSP funding and the bipartisan 2024 funding package fell short, as you mentioned, so we need to get creative about more solutions. So what other tools are you thinking about utilizing in order to increase the support that DHS can provide to Illinois communities experiencing migrant busing this year? And then can USCIS surge personnel to improve processing times for work authorizations, for example, or take any other steps to address those types of delays? And can DHS access any emergency funding or work with other agencies like HHS or DOD to unlock resources?
Congresswoman, a few points. First and most fundamentally, it is our hope that public officials will actually coordinate, communicate, and collaborate with other public officials to ensure that the interests of the nation are properly served and that chaos is not deliberately sowed. Number one. Number two, we have deployed teams to some of the interior cities to ensure that our expertise in the processing of individuals and understanding their eligibility for certain benefits is fully realized, and we have dispatched a team to Chicago, Illinois for that purpose. So we are working very closely across the administration and with the cities to address the challenges before us.
And with those teams, do they include, again, personnel across the interagency, including USCIS, to be able to increase processing, to access funds from other departments, et cetera. If not, please consider taking those steps as we move forward, particularly in this moment where we have to use more creative strategies because, as you know, sir, hope is not a solution and it's certainly not a policy. And we know that some of these extremists in the southern states are not going to change their behavior, particularly as we approach the fall. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.